She stepped into the lunch line like she owned the moment, like everything she'd done before never happened. Like the messages, the slurs, the accent mocking, none of it mattered. But it did. It mattered more than anyone around us could ever understand. She looked me dead in the eye and said it, thick, fake accent and all. "Are you eating bat dumpling or dog noodle?" And they laughed. They laughed. I stood there, stomach twisted, my hands shaking, not from surprise, but from the familiar sting of humiliation. I'd tried silence. I'd tried reporting it. I'd tried being better. But in that moment, surrounded by smirks and stifled chuckles, I felt something in me snap. But let me back up. This wasn't the first time she came for me. During lockdown, when everything was uncertain and fear clung to every corner of life, she found the perfect target for her anger. Me. A Chinese kid in a mostly white school district. One of the only Chinese kids, in fact. She slid into my DMs with a message that felt like a slap. "Did the bat taste good? Thanks a lot, you fucking freak." That message hit me like a brick. Not just the words, but the venom behind them. The certainty that she could say something so racist and cruel without thinking twice. I did what we're told to do. I reported it. But the school, my school, said she couldn't be blamed. That tensions were high. That her uncle had COVID. That maybe she was just lashing out. So nothing happened, except that the messages kept coming. New accounts, new usernames. Same tone, same slurs. Chink, bat eater, dog chewer. I knew it was her. Of course I did. Who else had that much hatred, that much time? So I blocked. One after another, I blocked. She never got the reaction she wanted. Not online. But in real life, that's where she finally cornered me. When school reopened for in-person learning, something I already thought was a mistake. I hoped maybe things had cooled down. Hoped maybe she'd moved on. Maybe people were too tired, too broken, too focused on the world burning around us to keep hating. But no. On the second day of school, she reminded me exactly who she was. And the others. They reminded me who they were too. The worst part? It wasn't the slur. It was the laughter. The silence of those who didn't join in, but said nothing either. Their stillness, their quiet agreement, was somehow louder than her voice. I stood there frozen, but not for long. Because here's what they don't tell you about staying silent, about taking the high road, about being the bigger person. They don't tell you that it comes with a cost. Every insult I ignored. Every moment I swallowed my pride. Every time I told myself to be strong, to endure, to wait for someone else to do something. It added up. And in that cafeteria, it boiled over. I looked at her. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't curse. I didn't even flinch. I said, "I'd be less concerned with what I'm eating if I were you, and more worried about your diet, since you're the one who needs to figure out how to brush her teeth in a trailer with no running water. Stop trying to get sent to a hospital when you can't afford healthcare." The laughter stopped. She didn't say anything. Her mouth opened slightly. Her face flushed red. And then she cried. She cried. The same girl who called me a freak, who mocked my heritage, who tormented me online for months. She cried. And suddenly, I was the villain. A few students rushed to her side. Others stood stunned. And then came the comments. "That was too far. She can't help being poor. Why would you say that?" As if I had launched an unprovoked attack. As if I had drawn first blood. As if I chose to be Asian. They said, She didn't choose her circumstances, but neither did I. They didn't say anything when she mocked my accent. They didn't speak up when she laughed at my culture. They didn't comfort me when I cried behind a locked bathroom stall. But the moment she felt pain, suddenly there were lines, rules, consequences. I didn't feel proud of what I said. I won't lie and say I walked away with my head held high. I felt shame. I felt raw. I felt all the things you feel when you realize the world would rather protect a bully's tears than the dignity of the person she bullied. But here's the thing. She left me alone after that. No more messages. No more mockery. Just silence. I plan on transferring anyway. I don't want to spend another second in a place that doesn't protect its students unless they fit a certain mold. I don't want to sit in classrooms where laughter is louder than justice. I don't want to exist in hallways where cruelty is funny until it hits too close to home. I've been called names I won't repeat. I've been humiliated in front of people who claim to be my peers. I've been told my pain didn't count because someone else had it worse. But in that moment, when she cried and the room turned cold, I realized something. People don't care about what's fair. They care about what makes them feel bad. And when a poor white girl cries, it makes people uncomfortable. But when a Chinese kid is mocked for months, that's just a joke. So, am I the asshole? Because I fought back with the only weapon I had, words. Because I struck once after enduring blow after blow. Because I gave her a taste of what she'd been serving me all along. They say 2 wrongs don't make a right. But what do you do when one wrong is ignored and the other is punished? What do you do when no one comes to your defense until the bully cries? What do you do when the adults in the room say, let it go, but your identity is the punchline? You hit back, not because it feels good, but because silence stops working. Because sometimes the only way to be heard is to be loud. Because sometimes pain speaks clearer than logic. So yeah, maybe I hit too hard, but maybe that's what it takes for people to finally listen. Maybe that's what it takes for a bully to stop. Maybe that's what it takes to survive. This story isn't just about 2 teenagers trading insults. It's about power, silence, and the price of being the bigger person in a world that rarely defends the defenseless. This student, our narrator, did everything right, reported it, blocked it, endured it, and still, the system failed them. And when they finally responded, when they finally stood their ground, the crowd cried foul. Not because they cared about kindness, but because the victim flipped the script. It raises hard questions. When is it okay to fight fire with fire? Who gets to decide when a line has been crossed? And why do we protect cruelty when it wears a tear-streaked face? There's no easy answer here, but there is a truth. Racism is never a joke. And defending yourself doesn't make you the villain. So, I'll leave you with this. What would you have done in that cafeteria? Would you have laughed, stayed quiet, or spoken up? Tell us in the comments. This is AITA Story Vault, where the truth isn't always pretty, but it's always real.